Hello.
Amy, hey,
Hi, Jen.
congratulations on your new documentary, Parrot Kindergarten.
Thank you so much. It was so much fun to make that film.
You know what? It is very fun to watch this film too, and it's so educational and so touching. But tell us first how did this documentary actually came about with you?
Someone forwarded an email to me. It's actually my manager that he had gotten where someone was pitching Jen's story and he saw the word cult and he said, "Oh, here, you do dark. So, look at this." And I looked at the story and I said, "Oh, this is so much more than her having been in a cult. This is a story about her relationship with her bird. This is a story about her healing. This is also a story about her really defying um, some of the norms in the institutions who told her that she could not do what she was doing, the research that she was doing."
So, so she basically approached you to do something like this, or you still have to convince Jen to participate in this project?
Well, someone else had approached um, to pitch her story. And then when she and I met, that same someone was advising her and said, "Oh, you should talk to a lot of different documentary filmmakers. Don't talk to just one." And so when we talked, the person who was advising her said, "Well, honestly, she should have editorial control because it's her story." And I just immediately said, "Oh, then I'm out. No, thank you. I cannot do that. I find that it is against my journalism ethics and what I believe documentary does. And so, best of luck to you." And Jen called me a few minutes later and said, "I want it to be you. I think you're amazing, and I think we could make something amazing."
So in this process of filming, how did you want to balance out her relationship with Ellie and her other birds and her personal life?
Well, it was clear that Ellie is a great deal of her personal life, right? She considers her bird daughter and her one of her best friends, as she says in the film. And so I wanted to just show that relationship and let it unfold. And Jen's world is really pretty insular. It is tremendously focused on her girls, on those birds, and her work, her research with them. So she really honestly doesn't have very much of a personal life.
Now, I understand one of the things that can be challenging or difficult is filming animals, and because sometimes you don't know how animals actually behave around, particularly strangers like yourself, or even with cameras. So, how did you want to approach that filming with Ellie and the other birds throughout this entire production?
Exactly. Jen gave us some tips before we ever stepped foot in the house. She said, "We're going to have to set the cameras up and then just let them get used to them before you're carrying them around. Just have them be stationary." She said, "You can't wear jewelry or nail polish, Amy, because they'll just get hyper focused on that. They don't like loud noises, they don't like sudden movements." And so we also arrived very early and gave them a chance just to get to know us before we began any kind of shooting whatsoever. But yes, they are very unpredictable animals. And then I made what people thought was a controversial decision of allowing Ellie to be in Jen's interview. So I allowed her to be in the room, which meant, of course, that she was on Jen. But I thought that it would show some of their relationship, and there would be some really beautiful moments from that, and there were.
Now, when the cameras are off, I'm curious is what is Ellie really like? I mean, what did you witness?
She's mischievous. She's funny. She's affectionate. She's got a fiery temper, really. She's bossy. I was setting up a table for a shot with some of the flashcards, the cards that Jen had used for her learning, and I was getting them positioned just right. And Ellie flew over to see what I was doing, and I didn't move out of the way fast enough, and she gave me this sharp little with her beak. And I got out of the way, and then she just marched over and inspected the table. She very much became the co-director. Um, but she's got a sense of humor. I mean, it's very clear she has a sense of humor. She teases her sisters. She plays. She's funny.
So throughout this entire production, Ellie tried to communicate with you, or you get that sense that there is communication.
There's absolutely communication. I mean, from that way that she commanded me to get out of her way to, we had a second shoot. So we had the first shoot. And then I realized that there was more that I needed. So we came back, which happens all the time in documentary. And when we came back and I walked into the room, Ellie turned and saw me, and just recognition on her little face bloomed, and she gasped. And I didn't know that parrots could gasp. And she gave this little gasp, and she flew over and landed on my shoulder. And then she pressed her little face onto my cheek. And I'll remember that moment forever. But that was such a sentient thing to do. It was like, oh, I remember you. Hi, hi. And she went to her comms board, and Jen had created a folder for her called Movie Friends. And she went to her comms board, and she's like, movie friends, movie friends.
That is actually pretty awesome itself. Now, through your production, when did you start this production, and was it a coincidence that you started it during the process when Jen is trying to prove something to the science community?
It wasn't a coincidence because I learned about her story. And then when I realized that she was in that process, that's one of the things that made me feel so pressured to get started filming right away. I actually scheduled the first shoot before we even had any funding. I was just so determined to make it happen. I was like, no, we're going to miss these moments, and we can't miss these moments. So I've got to figure out how to make it happen. So I got my begging bowl out, is what I call it.
When you're doing this, did you what makes Jen so, how can you say, so relentless on pursuing to prove this to the science community? Because for most of us, we would care less about whether it's proven whether we could communicate or not. Most of us, we just care about, having that good relationship with our pet and quality of life.
I think Jen really felt that it was up to her to give these birds a voice and to have them recognized as being capable of intentional communication. And she felt this tremendous pressure that if she didn't do it, nobody else was going to step up in this moment in time and do it, and that the science needed to move forward and that the birds deserved it. So she put this tremendous pressure on herself, and she made it happen.
As an interviewer, how did you basically push her through these emotional times? Because, sometimes she has rejections and she seems to break down. Or I also thought it was very tough for her to talk about her past into the cult
Losing
like that.
Sophia, yes,
Yeah.
right. And losing in that one tremendous, she had two tremendous losses. And well, she's had many, but the two that she spoke about, yes. Um, so you prepare the subject by saying, we're going to have, this conversation tomorrow. And I will, take great pain to help you feel safe, and we'll go slow. And if you want to take breaks, we'll take breaks. And so you just kind of work them through it. And at that point, it was a very intimate set. There were just, two film crew members. And so it was just those two, and she'd gotten to know them already, and she knew me and was comfortable with me. And so, and she was also just incredibly brave.
Do you still visit them once in a while after this is all done?
Oh, I stay in touch with Jen. We talk almost every day. I mean, I stay in touch with Jen, and Ellie for the longest time was calling me on a regular basis until finally I had to say, Ellie, I have to get some work done, but she will do these video calls, just like pop around. She's happy to see you, and you just kind of chat with her. It's really cute. Um, yes, I see Jen quite frequently, and it's wonderful. She's coming to the Friday Harbor Film Festival, and I'll see her later today. I'm so excited.
Amazing. Well, Amy, let me leave with one last thought. As audiences everywhere have a chance to watch Parrot Kindergarten, what is the one most important take you hope they walk away with?
Oh, I want people, the film really invites people to slow down and listen. Jen and Ellie, they show up for each other over and over and over again, and they have this connection. And I think that trust and that curiosity and that commitment they have to each other leads to joy. And so I really hope that people take a cue from that and slow down and learn to listen a lot better, whether it's to an animal or a human, or themselves, and trust themselves.
Well said. As I said, I love this documentary. This really proved that, that term bird brain is an incorrect term because, Ellie proved that, she has quite an intelligence out there, and I
Right?
mean, she's making calls to you, and I mean that's a
She's
significant.
incredible.
That is
Yeah.
incredible. You told an incredible story. Um, keep on doing what you're doing, Amy. So thank you very
Thank you
much.
so much, Gig. Thank you.